morning, everyone, and today our investigative team takes a look into the troubling health epidemic of sleep deprivation affecting a majority of local high school teens. Recently, the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention and the American Academy of Pediatrics have urged high schools across the country to start classes later in the day, increasing the start time to no earlier than 8:30 a.m. Their studies show that young adults need an average of 8.5 to 9.5 hours of sleep per night to be fully rested in the morning, but due to early school start times, students are often forced to wake up before sleeping the recommended amount. The effects of this lack of sleep are extremely prevalent in students at one local high school, yet the school district has done little action to improve the situation. Our investigative reporter McKenna Canty went undercover at Woburn Memorial High School to expose the horrible conditions and raise awareness for sleep deprivation in teens. We'll now take a look at what she found. A typical school day at Woburn High begins at 7:30 a.m., but McKenna starts her day leaving for school at 7 o'clock, a half hour before classes start. If students here want to find a parking spot in their crowded parking lot, they must be ready to leave even earlier than that, only adding to their lack of sleep in the morning. This may contribute to the dangerous conditions of the parking lot as the other students arrive later that morning. Everywhere you turn, drowsy drivers recklessly pull into parking spaces and obliviously slam the brakes as they enter the school grounds. While walking into the building, groggy teens can be seen all around, yawning on their way to class and lounging in hallways. When McKenna enters the first period class, she is shocked to find not only that the teens are overtired, but all of these AP French students are outright asleep on their desks. At first attributing this to the early hours of the first period class, we soon realize that in every period throughout the day, the students are completely asleep, and some teachers are suffering from a lack of sleep as well. Even at the drama club's play rehearsal and the science team meet, students are so sleep deprived they do not have the ability to stay awake even for a moment. During her day at Woburn High, McKenna managed to find 30 students who were awake enough to answer a short survey about their typical school day. Her reports found that 93% of the students did not sleep for the recommended time of 8.5 to 9.5 hours, and 73% of students actually got 6 hours of sleep or less per night. 66% go to bed at 11:30 or later, and 86% have to wake up at 6:30 or even earlier. These late hours and early wake-up calls make for some seriously sleep-deprived teens. While McKenna was spending time in class, our other investigative reporters interviewed Woburn High School's principal about his students' overall performance.
Our students here are unfortunately not at the standard of academic achievement we hoped they'd be able to reach at the beginning of the year. Aside from excessive sleeping in class, our students' recent grades and standardized test scores have been lackluster, and we became a level 3 school because of poor performance on MCAS. I would also like to improve our attendance records, as we've seen high numbers of students arriving late to school and calling out absent. The ones that do attend school regularly also seem to be irritable and unfocused, finding it difficult to stay alert in class. We are trying to find a solution to these many issues, but progress is slow. We hesitate to try to change the start time of school because of many concerns from the community. Parents believe elementary children won't get the care they need if they get out of school earlier. Parents and teens would no longer be able to get home from school and work to watch them. There are also many transportation issues, especially with trying to coordinate bus schedules. Will high schoolers have to stay later at team practices and after-school activities than they did before? We are attempting to find alternate solutions to these issues our high school is dealing with today. Thank you.
There are many symptoms of sleep deprivation that impair teens' ability to function well throughout the day. The National Sleep Foundation states that some effects include limited ability to learn and concentrate, increased forgetfulness, aggressive or inappropriate behavior, drowsy driving, and a greater tendency to abuse substances such as alcohol or drugs. A majority of these symptoms can be seen in the teens at Woburn High School, yet little has been done to help the health of their suffering students. The school committee believes starting classes at the high school later would have more drawbacks than advantages. But the few school districts across the country who have implemented this plan have seen encouraging results. In Bonneville County, Idaho, absences decreased by 15% following its change to later start times. In Lexington, Kentucky, in the 2 years since it shifted the start of school, teen car crashes for 17 to 8-year-olds dropped by 16.5%, while the accident rate increased by 7.8% in the surrounding areas. These are just a few of the many examples of the benefits teens get when they are allowed to sleep just an extra hour. Our investigation has shown that the students of Woburn High School are just a fraction of the many teens affected by this issue. School districts need to wake up and realize students learn better when they are awake. This concludes our report on the many effects of sleep deprivation. Thank you very much for watching.